Hello, it's Amalia again with my history who is hot who's not videos, excuse me. This is my friend Tommy who makes chainmail, and so here's some little samples. This one's like a slightly different color, so he's like super crafty. And today I'm glad Tommy is here to be as a guest in my video because Alana was like, I don't feel like doing a video right now. And it's not as fun to do the video by myself. So today I'm going to talk about an author whose name is Ayn Rand, and conservatives really like her, especially fiscal conservatives, but also every other conservative. And the reason why is because she wrote this book called Atlas Shrugged, which they made into a movie that bombed. And it is a feminist book in that the main character is a female and she does a better job at everything than anyone else. I think her character's name is Darcy. And then she runs like a railroad company or something that she inherited from her father. And she's just like the toughest feminist, like neocon, like let's cut all the taxes and then like not build infrastructure, and also let's employ workers in a really bad work environment. You know, like let's cut a bunch of jobs. Like she's a terrible person. Ayn Rand was like, those are good things though. Like to Ayn Rand, those are all good things. So anyway, at the end of Atlas Shrugged, all the rich people move away together and leave the poor people to fend for themselves. I wish the rich people would do this in real life. And if they listened to Ayn Rand, they would have already done it. But there is a problem with Ayn Rand's solution to her problems of everyone else being incompetent around her, was that who is going to pick up the garbage? Who is going to cook the meals, since you probably have servants and have them do that for you? Who is going to, like, sweep the street? Who is going to shovel the snow? Who is going to fix the toilet? Who is going to plunge the toilet? Like, rich people don't do those things for themselves. Not like the really rich, like this book is about. And then there's weird things that happen, like, at one point, she makes friends with this guy named Henry Reardon, and he's developed a new type of steel, which is green and totally fictional, that is stronger than normal steel. At least I think it's fully a fictional kind of steel. Like, she made that up. And his wife, he gave a bracelet of chain links of this green steel, the Reardon steel. And Darcy, the main character, is wearing a diamond-studded tennis bracelet. And the lady who has the metal bracelet starts going off on her husband like, oh, you invented this fucking steel method, and now you're like giving me this instead of the diamonds that I want, and diamonds are way better than this unbreakable material that you gave me because you invented it yourself. And then Darcy walks over and intervenes and says, excuse me, if you don't like that bracelet, I will give you this diamond tennis bracelet in exchange for it. She also later has an affair with Henry Reardon. But she leaves him for someone named John Galt, who was the first of the rich people to become... Of course, he pulled himself up by his bootstraps. Of course, they always do that in books. It doesn't happen very often in real life. Anyway, so... then she, like, gets together with this guy named John Galt, and all throughout the second half of the book, there's, like a repeated phrase, like, who is John Galt? Because, like, there would be little, like, I don't know what to call them, like, not cameo appearances, but, like, mentions of, like, this really famous genius, like, rich guy named John Galt. And then Darcy names a train line after John Galt, and I think it's called Who is John Galt? Because she was trying to figure out who John Galt was. Finally, she finds him. I think she marries him at the end of the book. And then they live in a weird paradise where rich people apparently like to work and take out their own garbage, which I find unlikely. However, I do wish that all of the one-percenters and neocons and conservatives and even some of the libertarians, the ones that are pro-life, for instance, they all need to take all their money and just move to a small island. And then in 20 years or so, that island will be covered in water. Go be by yourselves, rich people. The poor people, they're just holding you down. You don't need them to work in your factory or anything. Duh. So anyway, Ayn Rand and I actually have something in common. I write novels. My novels are fairly feminist, and my female characters, I have two main female characters and two main male characters, and my female characters are about as amoral and capitalistic and, like, crazy as it comes. So even though, like, it's sort of, those books are tragedies, and, like, you know, The Empress, who I reread Atlas Shrugged before I wrote the Empress book, which is the second book in the series, because she's about the villain of the first book. So I was like, well, I guess I better read Atlas Shrugged since I need, like, extremely intelligent, skeptical, rich, and privileged, like, woman who's, like, very strong-minded. So I reread Atlas Shrugged, and it's called Atlas Shrugged because Atlas is all like, well, I gotta carry the weight of the whole world. And then he shrugs off that weight. And all the rich people get to go be by themselves. And I'm like, you're not, where are you gonna go? Like, no men can't go to a strip club? Like, if you go live on a tiny island, is there gonna be, like, prostitutes that you bring with you? Like, because most of these guys are gonna be men. Like, right? This is mostly a male denomination. Like, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree with that? Like, this is mostly a male demographic that could do this, unless they were allowed to bring their wives, which she did not say they could. I don't know if that would have come out anyway in a later book. And the other thing that Ayn Rand and I have in common is that we both like to date younger guys. And she dated a guy who was, like, 15 years younger than him or her or something, and just, like, he would just, like, listen to her talk, and she was brilliant, just amoral and a capitalist. And I mean, but obviously, like, you know, Ayn Rand is not a dumb person, even though she has some really weird ideas. And she's kind of fascist, I guess. I think that'd be the closest. So anyway, they made some stupid movie about it, and I, like, watched part of it, and I'm like, what? Because they made Darcy annoying, and I'm like, actually, she's, like... So, anyway, don't read Atlas Shrugged. No one should have to read that book ever. It's horrible. The implications are just inhumane. Don't read that book. Okay. Also, I would sleep with Ayn Rand, probably. You know. We have a lot in common. Authors, feminists, write compelling female characters that are smarter than the male characters. We have things in common. Okay, end of transmission. Tommy, you didn't say anything the whole time.
No, I don't.
Well, you're not going to be my other silent Bob. Alana's usually the silent Bob. Now I have two silent Bobs.